Good evening, everybody. Chris and Tiffany here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to tonight's live show. We have figured out new buttons on this thing. I didn't know I can make it do this. I can make smiley faces. I can make hearts. I had no idea. I'm very excited. New toys. So if anybody's seen that going up and down the screen, especially during the intro, it was Tiffany. But welcome, everybody. Andre, welcome to the show. Jordan, welcome to the show. What is the news? We do have a little bit of news for you tonight.
Nellie's here. Hi, Paul.
Nellie is here. Hope everybody said we got nothing from good old Beryl. We didn't even get a single solitary drop of rain.
Well, we got a little bit of wind.
We got some wind.
That was it.
And it wasn't even much wind. I've gotten more wind out of a box fan.
I think we've got more wind out there right now.
Yeah, but Beryl said off to the right. And unfortunately did tear up Houston and did tear up Galveston really well.
Nellie says, hope all the Houston family is great.
Absolutely. I know they are still having some power issues out there, trying to restore power.
Hope to hear from Rick tonight, see how he's doing.
Yeah, because he's much closer to the action. I know those that use Spectrum service for their internet, some of that has been wonky. They said, I guess, a whole bunch of their services got knocked out and knocked down.
Are excited when our electricity back on. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
were closest to the action down there, so you probably have one of the best points of view as to how bad it actually was.
Andre or Alien that's in Houston?
A couple of them are in Houston.
Yeah, we have a couple of them in Houston. So y'all check in. Let us know you're safe.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, we know power was down. Internet services were down. That storm barreled through Galveston. The whole port of Galveston was closed.
Rick, so lost our fence, but the house was spared. You know, a fence is replaceable, so is a house.
But looking at the big picture, yeah, especially people are safe, house is safe. If it's got to be something, let it be the fence.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Nellie said, my sister lives in a high rise close to downtown, and luckily she got electricity next day. That is awesome.
That is nice.
I've seen some pictures of downtown Houston. It was ugly.
Well, I saw some of the hotels, even ones we've looked at staying in Galveston, where ripped like whole sides of them off. So everybody in Galveston did have it a little bit rough. But we do have to ask too, how was everybody's 4th of July?
Yes.
Since we have, we were here last Wednesday, right before 4th of July. Hopefully everybody did have a good 4th of July before the wonderful weather started coming in.
I think Attila and Alien are in Houston, if I recall. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Beryl was a wild ride, very strong winds.
Yeah, do you know there's already another tropical storm forming right behind Beryl?
Yes.
Yes, but do you know what its name is?
No.
I do.
Is it Chris?
Yes. Apparently the next wonderful tropical storm facing a blaze through the Caribbean, they decided to name Chris. See, now you really can't blame me for all this stuff.
Yes, I can.
But I did see that today. So unfortunately, yeah, my name is the next name in the list of named storms for 2024.
Just Cody says, hey there, Chris and Tiffany. I hope y'all are doing great. We are awesome.
We are just here, just hot, having lots of smile faces. But yeah, we are doing really, really good here. I said we didn't get any weather. We got rain that had absolutely nothing to do with the storm, and then it just went right back to hot. So Tiffany's wandered off on a. Are you going down a rabbit hole?
Yes, I am.
Well, here, why don't you rabbit hole over here?
We saw 90 plus mile an hour wind. I don't even want to know.
Well, that explains all the ripping of siding and.
I've seen a lot of the videos where they slowly watch the tree come down and stuff.
I saw some where the swells over on the seawall side, they were pretty much coming up on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Nellie, I saw Mariner TikTok and RC took great care of the passengers on board for the extra day.
Oh yeah, not that they had any choice. Galveston said, oh, "We're closed," and Mariner of the Seas did the right thing and said, "Cool, we're out of here." Boogied back out into clear water and stayed out there until they were able to come back in. Cruise lines are really, really good about it. If you're going to get stuck an extra day, they're going to make sure you're safe. They're going to make sure you're entertained. They're going to feed you. They're going to do all of the things to make sure that you're still having an enjoyable time and your last day isn't miserable. And while unfortunately, the next cruise did get short a day. They had to make an adjustment. They had to miss Costa Maya on Mariner of the Seas. I'm going to honestly say that if we were out on a cruise and they were like, oh, guys, guess what? You have to stay out for an extra day or two because of this bad weather. I don't think I'd be upset.
No.
I'd be like, oh, no, you're not going to kick me off tomorrow like I thought. Yay. So.
Cody says, you may have told me this, but they go in alphabetical order on the hurricane each year. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, they put out the list of name storms since we just did Beryl. Next up is C, and apparently it's named Chris. And
well, hopefully Chris is a little nice.
Well, let's hope he's not like me. You don't want him to be like me because then he just stop and spend extra time at all the Caribbean ports. So, but right now it's just a tropical storm. It may not turn into anything.
Do they do anything for those who got shorted a day?
So of course they will get a refund back on the one day that they've missed. Since they missed Costa Maya, any cruise line booked shore excursions, they'll get back. Port fees and taxes and things like that, they will get back. After that, it's really going to be cruise line dependent and cruise ship dependent on to whether or not they're going to do anything for them or not. Technically, they don't have to. Cruise itineraries are subject to change based on the cruise line's requirements and weather requirements, and no compensation is actually required. Now, a lot of them do, though, and it could be you get your extra drink. If you have the drink package, you'll get the extra day at no additional cost. If you have Wi-Fi, you'll get the extra day at no additional cost.
What about a shortened day?
For shortened days, it really depends. They might get some onboard credit and things like that. It honestly varies from cruise to cruise, and no one's going to be happy about it. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be a list of people down at guest services basically wanting a full refund and remove my gratuities because it clearly was the cabin steward's fault for everything that goes wrong on a ship. You know how that goes. So, but then some cruise lines are weird and they don't do anything. We missed a cruise port with Norwegian and they didn't even give us back the port fees and taxes. We never even got those back from them. So it really kind of varied, but it is the what happens type of situation when you cruise during hurricane season. It can go great for some and bad for others. I guess is probably the best way to say that.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about other cruise news. We of course, did a big story this week about the 14-year-old boy who disappeared from Princess Cruise Line's Caribbean Princess Cruise Line in Germany. Now, this is an interesting story, and of course, never going to get an official answer from Princess. But so here the story goes. He was on board the ship with his grandma. He was traveling with his grandma, got in an argument with his grandma when they docked in Germany. So around 7:30 in the morning, he disembarked the ship and disappeared. Okay. Now, they did find him 3 days later. Found him safe. He's returned back to his family. But a question I asked in the video, and of course, I don't think Princess is ever going to come out and say, "Oops, how did a 14-year-old boy walk off the ship unescorted? No adult."
Yeah, because you have to be 18 to walk off the
Right.
ship by yourself, or
Is
you
that
have
not
to have
policy?
an adult. Yeah.
It is policy, right?
You have to be escorted by somebody in the same cabin. It can't just be any adult. It has to be in the cabin.
Correct. Yeah, because we've seen that before. You can do it, but you have to have all kinds of special paperwork and documentation. So how did a 14-year-old boy walk off the Caribbean Princess unescorted?
That is a very good question.
Because What if he hadn't been found? What if something happened to him and he wasn't returned to his family? I think Princess ought to take this as a knock at the door. All cruise lines, if they have in this kind of problem, but Princess in particular should take a quick knock on that door and say, whoa, how did this happen? We need to fix it before it's not a happy ending. Mm-hmm. Children cannot just walk off cruise ships unescorted. And apparently he did.
Well, he said if the hurricane is Chris, hopefully they get the live on Wednesday, Chris. If the hurricane is the passengers who complain video Chris that hurricane is a category 5, my man gets fiery on those.
You know what? If it becomes if it's going to hit Texas, I should go down to the coast and say I'm filming with myself.
There you go. There you go.
I see me coming. Then I run.
Texas Cruiser says my next article is about hurricanes and cruising.
Yeah, and no matter how many times you say it, it happens every single year. Mm-hmm. They don't research. They book cruises. People book cruises during hurricanes, and then are just utterly shocked and disturbed and mad that stuff happens during hurricanes. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely crazy. But I did see something the other day that I thought was absolutely hilarious. I saw a comment, and it's not one for the Saturday show, but they always complain that, the weather's bad. It's raining. The sea is too choppy, and things like that. And so the cruise ships don't dock. You know what I mean? And I actually saw one the other day where it was raining, right? But the cruise ship was still able to dock. So then they wrote in and complained that the cruise ship shouldn't have docked and gone someplace sunny instead. So you can make nobody happy. Not when it comes to those types of things. And boom, James has joined the show tonight.
Yay. All right, James, weekly update. Nelly, do they check the age? Maybe he just slipped through the cracks. Also, I tell you this, the Pacific Islander would get in trouble. My mom would be whooping some.
He probably did slip through. He went out, so they had just docked, and there's a ton of people pushing their way to get off that cruise ship, scan as possible. You've been on a cruise, you know how it is. Everybody wants off at the exact same time.
And he could have easily said, I'm with them.
And he could have slipped off. But I would think that there would be some kind of
red
flag that would pop up on the screen that just said minor. And so we'd be like, hey, where's the other people in your party? That somehow those reservations, they're linked together. They would have known he's traveling with his grandma, and they could have been like, I don't see his grandma. Whoa, let's check it out, sort of situation. But they were probably going very fast, trying to get people off of the ship. And yeah, he probably did slip through the cracks. But what if something had happened and he hadn't been returned safely? Cruise line would have been on the hook. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, they let him through.
Aliens here says, good evening, Chris and Tiffany.
Good evening, and Frankie's also here. We'll get the James update. But yeah, so that was probably one of the biggest stories from this week. Was that particular one right there. Of course, the hurricane came through.
So what about the news article we saw, the news story we saw today about, was it Barcelona?
Oh, but that's been going on.
I know, but to have the locals sitting there squirting the tourists with water guns.
Yeah, she's right. We did see it. It was actually on the news this morning that, of course, Barcelona, Amsterdam, places like that are becoming over touristy. That's not a word. Too many tourists. Overrun with tourists. And of course, naturally, cruise ships are going to become the number one enemy for any place that's having too many tourists. And the philosophy behind that is well, cruise passengers, yes, they spend money, but they come into port in the morning, they spend a few dollars, they leave. Versus people who come to the city specifically, rent hotels, eat multiple meals. They spend more money. So if you've got to cut somebody somewhere, they go after cruise ships. But yeah, there were protesters in Barcelona squirting tourists, yelling at tourists. Excuse me. Today over the over tourism going on over there. So yeah, that's going on.
Yes.
But we're seeing that even in U.S. ports.
Yeah.
Juneau is fixing to vote again to eliminate cruise ships altogether on Saturday. They want that one Saturday, no cruise ships at all. Sitka is still trying to get the number of cruise ships reduced by half. The people there, they've done a petition twice now to try to get it on the ballot to be voted for. It's failed twice, but they say they're going to keep going.
Alien said, I heard somewhere the 14-year-old is also autistic. No one's talking about that, though. Did I dream that up?
No, it was put in there that he was autistic. So that much is true. I purposely left it out of the story because really my main focus was he was found, he was safe, but how the heck did he get off the cruise ship?
Mm-hmm. Francis says, I think I heard that also. However, no additional comments made. James says, laugh out loud. Okay, I'm doing okay. The physical therapy is no joke, but getting some movement back of the shoulder, but showing good improvement. That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is a plus.
Connie says, yes, honestly, cruise passengers are the worst in terms of helping the economies.
If you're comparing it to people that stay and spend the night, yes. But in general, cruise tourism brings in millions and millions of dollars to some of these ports a week. Look at some place like Nassau, Bahamas, and look at Cozumel and places like that. And granted, they take tons of ships, tons of cruise passengers, but they love that money. Mm-hmm. They love it so much that I'm wearing a shirt in honor of Nassau. Nassau is now talking about building a $35 million water park as part of the new cruise port there in Nassau, Bahamas. And I was looking at some of the numbers. Do you know Nassau can take 30,000 cruise passengers per day? Per day.
As a cruise passenger, I don't want to share the port with 30,000 people.
That's 7 ships. Nassau alone can take 7 cruise ships. Now, they haven't quite hit the 30,000 yet, but they've come close. They've had 29,000 and some change in passengers in one day.
I don't want to share the cruise port with that many people. I got super anxiety in Alaska.
So Nassau now wants to build a $35 million water park that's going to be part of the actual cruise port. They want the cruise port to be an experience all in its own. And of course, this is directly to keep people from going to Atlantis, because you go over to Atlantis, yeah, there's a water park, but the ticket's like $150 per person. So they want to get some of that crowd. Of course, you have Royal Caribbean building the Royal Caribbean Beach Club right there. That's going to be coming open up over there. And they'd rather keep people in near the cruise port, spend more money. And of course, they say, well, it's to enhance the family experience for those that don't want to venture off.
Nellie says, didn't Amsterdam vote to stop cruising?
They've moved the cruise ships out of the city center. So there's a dock that's a bus ride away, because it's a bus ride. So cruise ships are still going to be going to Amsterdam, but they're not going to be docking in the city center. They have to dock, I think it's 10 miles or so down the road. There's a different dock down there, and you're going to have to bus into the city for Amsterdam.
See, I think they will find a happy medium of the number of passengers they can handle.
I do too.
Nellie says, I think cruise tourists go and ransack the place and leave whereas if someone gets a rental, they are more respectful.
I can completely agree with that too.
I think it also depends on the cruise line too.
No, I've seen it nasty after every cruise line we've ever been on. I've seen people be disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, think of a cruise line, and don't even necessarily think about the port, but just think about the ship. What ship have you been on where you haven't seen them leave plates in the elevator, leave plates in the hallway?
Cups in the plants.
Yeah, just throw their cups in the plants. It's been on every single cruise line, which means those people act that same way when they go into cruise ports.
This is true.
So I don't think it's cruise line specific. I think it's people. It's not their house. They don't live there. They're not responsible for it.
They're on vacation.
They're on
Why should
vacation.
they?
What do they care? They don't care about what it's going to look like when they leave, because in their mind, it's not about keeping someplace clean, protected, and nice for the future.
Very true. Alien says, under no circumstances should he have been allowed to disembark alone. He should have gotten an underage flag as well as possible special needs flag when they scanned his card.
Exactly. It's at the bare minimum. He was underage. That should have absolutely come up. So, like I said, I think Princess snaked by a very bad situation by him being found.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he hadn't been found, Princess, in my opinion, would have been on the hook for it. They would have been liable. And I love Princess,
Yes.
but that was a no-no.
Ray's here. He says, take the ships out of the ports, and what do they have?
Fish.
Talking about the cities that are.
Yeah. Sounds like they're competing with the private islands too. Yeah, they absolutely are competing with them as well to become more of an experience. But almost every single cruise, or the vast majority of them that sail out of your Miami and places like that, usually have a stop on Nassau, Bahamas. And Nassau doesn't want that to go away. Me personally, I like a nice cruise port, but I would like to see them focus more on the areas outside of the cruise port as well, because I like to get past the tourist and see the local.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that would enjoy a new water park and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not one of them.
I don't like water that much.
It's not that I don't like water. I love water, but I don't want to go all the way to the Nassau, Bahamas to get off the ship and swim in a water park in the port and get back on the ship. And then I think I've missed the whole point of the port.
This is true.
At least that's what I think.
James says, I believe the biggest problem with these small ports is the large ships.
I completely agree. And I think that the evidence, where was this problem 10 years ago? More cruise ships have been built. Cruise ships have gotten bigger. The number of cruise passengers sailing week after week has all gone up. Sorry, I've been fighting a throat problem all week long. And yeah, now the problems are starting to come into play. But the cruise ships want more money, so they build more ships. They build bigger ships. They get more cruise passengers. Unfortunately, you do eventually get to the point where it's like we're running out of ports to go to that we can't go to where it's just one ship at a time. These ports have got to be, with the number of cruise ships going, got to be able to handle 2, 3, 4 cruise ships. I don't even know the number, but the number of ships that like sail out of Miami alone. I've seen the videos of them departing Miami just on a daily basis.
It's like 5 or 6 ships.
5 or 6 ships every day pulling out. They all got to go somewhere.
James also says one thing is about Nassau is there will be plenty to do around the port. Alien says, agreed, James. The ship is becoming the destination. I don't see that trend going away.
I don't either. I really don't either, because from the cruise line's point of view, if they can build a mega ship, and Royal Caribbean's a good example of this. Their brand new ship coming out is going to be doing short sailings, 3 and 4 day sailings, a stop in Nassau, a stop in Coco Key. And that's on brand new ships. Why? Keep you on the ship, keep you on a private island, take you to Nassau where their new beach club is going to be opening up. Royal Caribbean, of course, is trying to keep you within the Royal Caribbean universe. They don't want you to go spend money with anybody else. So I get it from a business standpoint, but cruise ships are great. Cruise ships can be destinations. Cruise ships can be fun. Love them all day long. But the destination to me is just as important. Where are we going to go? What are we going to see? What are we going to do?
Natalie says, yes, Alien, we are doing back-to-back Utopia, and we are going just for the ship. I got suckered.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I will sail a cruise ship just to sail on a cruise ship. I've picked some of them and gone, you know what? I've just never been on that ship. I just want to go on the ship.
Yes.
Even though I've done the itinerary 2 or 3 times. I'll do that. And I completely agree with, I just want to see something, a new ship, and experience what's new on a ship.
Texas Cruiser says we sell more for the stay on the ship while in ports more often.
Yeah, see, and I'm a little bit of the opposite. I will get off in every single port. I've managed to go wander off and find something new in just about every single time we go into port. I mean, I'm happy to get back on the ship at the end of the day.
Yes.
But that's because I've made you walk all over the island.
That's all right. Get my steps in.
Yeah. Well, how do you think if we get in your upcoming cruise? You got lots of ports, lots of walking.
Yeah, they keep asking me at work where we're going. I said, I don't know.
Key West.
Okay.
Princess Key.
Okay.
Nassau.
Okay.
Freeport.
I'll forget by tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
James says, same here, Texas. Oh.
I go on a cruise to nowhere. I love the ports, but yeah, I love it all too. It's really hard to say one versus the other is definitely better. You can't really say that. If there was a really great ship that I'd like to spend extra time on, was doing a cruise to nowhere, yeah, I'd jump on it. So
that's why we're doing the Wish.
That's why Tiffany is making us do the Wish. That is exactly why Tiffany is making us do the Wish. And because for her, that ship is an utter destination. Yeah, that particular Nassau day, because it does go to Nassau, we might stay on the ship just so she can wander around more.
Bashorn says, as long as I don't have to row, I'm good. Me too.
Me three? I'm definitely not about rowing. Let's see, what other cruise news was there this week? It's been kind of slow the last couple of days. I said there's been new build information about the Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, protesting in Barcelona, hurricane news, the young man on the Caribbean Princess. And I got an interesting one I bet you didn't see. Japan is getting a brand new cruise ship. Brand new.
Okay.
Why would that be important to you?
Because I want to go to Tokyo Disney.
Because it's a Disney cruise ship.
Oh.
One of the new builds coming out.
It was Disney.
Yep.
Disney related.
One of the new builds coming out for Disney Cruise Lines after the Treasure and the current ones is going to be dedicated solely for cruises out of Japan in association with Disneyland Tokyo. Thought you'd get a kick out of that. You could get your Tokyo visit in and a Disney cruise all in one airplane ride.
I like it. When we booking?
Man, they haven't even built the ship yet.
So 5 years.
They haven't even laid the keel yet.
Speaking of keel, I did see a video, and I guess it was of the new Royal Caribbean. And they were talking about how massive it is. And you don't realize how massive it is until you're standing next to it. And it's still dry dock up on whatever it's on. And these people walking under the...
And they look like they're this big.
Yeah, they're walking under the propellers. And I've been next to the cruise ships. I know how big they are. But man, seeing those propellers and all of that stuff, it was huge.
Well, I think back to when we first cruised, our very first cruise. You see pictures of them. They don't look that big.
No.
How big can this really be until you stand next to it on the dock? And it's not even on when you board, because you go through the, like you're boarding an airplane through the gangway to get on the ship. But when you get off in that first cruise port and you're standing on the dock and you're just looking up at your cruise ship, you feel this big. Mm-hmm. Even when it's a small, older cruise ship, you feel this big.
Or when you're looking down at the pier runners, they look like little ants.
So imagine standing next to one of these monster ships. Now, I've stood next to Allure of the Seas. I think she's currently 7th largest in the world. And I felt this big. So yeah, being underneath it, you probably don't feel any bigger.
James says, I think I would enjoy a transatlantic cruise just to enjoy the sea days. Chris would too, for all the sea naps.
Sea naps. I'm telling you. When we go do our British Isle cruise, it is absolutely my intention when we finally can get around to that to travel by as much of that trip by ship. At least one way for sure is going to be on a cruise ship because I'd rather sail than fly.
Nellie says they will have 2 new ships in Asia, Disney.
Yes, they're going to have the Disney Adventure, which is the pre-built ship that was halfway built. It used to be the Global Dream, I believe, that they bought out. But then they're going to one of the current class, the Disney Wish class that they have out right now. They're going to purposely build one that will be solely for Japan. So yeah, in the end, there's actually going to be 2 ships over in Asia.
Bijarn says you might need a new mortgage to pay for all that Disney. James says, yep.
I need like 6 more jobs.
Texas Cruiser says you always get me my Saturdays going with your what every cruiser wants.
Oh, I got tons of that for this weekend. I've got those things stacking up. Some of these cruise passengers have been utterly extra recently. I mean, just extra. And they're usually pretty good, but boy, some of their requests and stuff, they've been on fire today. Now, he didn't put out the comment, but John Hill was talking about it on his Facebook page today. That apparently somebody was putting like a group together or something like that, and was not real happy when he would not provide them 75 to 100 door prizes. 100 door prizes. Of course, they want it for free.
So how many door prizes are you going to ask for our group cruise?
None. We're going to provide those ourselves.
Alien says, my Saturday starts with what every cruiser wants and some strong coffee. I look forward to it.
Oh, yeah, I have to have something strong too, as I have to read through them and decide which one to pick.
Yeah.
I've been telling Tiffany that too. You know, I read those all. It's so much negativity picking out the good ones that we're going to do for Saturday's show that sometimes I tell her, I just put my phone down and I can't listen to these people anymore. And I have to walk away from her for a couple hours. It's so much negativity for so much of a good time on a cruise ship. And it's so silly.
Well, he says, where does everyone see the John Heald posts?
On his Facebook page, I could put a link in the description after this video is done being live. But he has a Facebook page. You will know it is his because it has a blue check mark. There are a bunch of fakers out there, false accounts and scammers that try to use his name. But yeah, he's got a dedicated Facebook page. He'll have a blue check mark next to it. And you normally can just search John Heald. Just make sure you get the one with the little blue check mark. And that is his one and only account on Facebook that he uses, and he does have an Instagram.
Texas Cruiser says, got that right. And then Texas Cruiser was asking James if he'd read his article on transatlantic sailings. James says no.
Oh, I completely lost my train of thought. I would love to do a transatlantic cruise, but I'm not really convinced. If I'm going to do a transatlantic cruise, at least one leg of it, and probably coming back, if I could pick my way, I want to do Cunard. And I know it's fancy. Dress up for dinner, all that other kind of stuff. My shorts and my baseball hat are not going to get me very far on a Cunard cruise. But I would still like to try it once, just to try it.
Yeah.
I could drink with my pinky in the air. Drink high tea.
One of these days, I'm going to actually go to high tea. All the cruise lines do it.
Yeah. You've had like an opportunity a lot of times.
I just don't see you going and enjoying it.
Well, I don't want the tea, but they make food. I'll eat a sandwich.
A cucumber sandwich?
Sure, whatever. They also have like desserts and cakes.
The macarons are mine.
I'm pretty sure you can share.
No, not when it comes to those. Fast Eddie, is John the only ambassador? Do other cruise lines have ambassadors?
No, they do not. He's the only one that's out in the public eye. So he's the only one I can absolutely confirm is John Hill, and which actually kind of surprises me. He's a success. He's got I want to say something crazy like 500,000 people follow him on Facebook. He's a great resource for Carnival Cruise Lines. People book and sell out entire cruises in one day if he says he's going to be on the ship. I guess I don't get why other cruise lines don't try it. I would think that they would look at it and go, my God, look how successful this is. Can we duplicate it? Now, me personally, I think the cruise lines miss several opportunities that I am willing to fill for them. I am.
don't know.
I would be happy to go on and film their ships, film all their different cabin categories. You know how many people want to know what a cabin looks like before they book it?
Yes.
Where's the bed? Is it closer to the balcony? Is it closer to the door? What's in all of these different types of room categories before I get on the ship? I'm the guy to go on there and film every single one of them. I could spend a whole week just filming a cruise ship while it's riding around. And then I'm getting off visiting ports. And then they pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. I could not be a brand ambassador, though.
Sharon says, what's the difference between high tea and regular tea? Joke. I have no idea. I don't even know if it's called high tea.
The herbs that go in the tea.
Connie says, I agree. John Heald was a very popular cruise director.
Yeah, I mean, and he still is. All this time later, he absolutely still is. And Carnival's got a lock on that sort of thing. But like I said, I could never do his job because they are rude to him, they talk down to him, and they constantly are begging for free stuff from him. And I would have so little patience for that.
Mm-hmm. Sandra's here. She says, hello, Tiffany and Chris. Hope y'all were okay during the hurricane.
You missed us.
We didn't get a drop.
Not a drop.
James, okay, that's what I need to do for my retirement. Become an ambassador for a cruise line.
Right?
You and James can do it together.
I don't even need to be the ambassador. I'd just be happy to film. You know, I would be, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
I love wandering around the cruise ship with the camera. I would be absolutely happy just to film cabins and specialty restaurants and everything like that. I really don't know why the cruise lines don't do that more.
Yeah. Sandra says, glad to hear.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Especially because, and again, we'll go back to John Heald, but when he does go on ships, he walks around the cruise ships and does what he calls walkies. And he's just got his iPhone and he's jiggling and it's all over the place. You can tell it's just him and his phone, and he love the man, but he's not a professional filmer. And he films different areas around the ship, and people are always like, well, could you show me this? Could you show me that? What does this look like? What does that look like? They're constantly even asking for more. So there is clearly a want,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably why our ship tour videos
Do so well.
do so well, because we try to show absolutely the maximum amount of ship that we can, because there is a need for it. And I think cruise lines would totally benefit from doing that more so than some of the promo commercials they put out, you know, where the drone flies over the water slide and you see two people you don't know over there eating something in some place on board the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they had somebody for the cruise line saying, hey, I'm going to this restaurant, this is the kind of food you can get, this is what it tastes like, this is what it looks like, this is what the cabin looks like, and stuff like that, I think that they would.
Ray says, you be the ambassador and I will hold your camera. I'll hold your camera.
I can always use a cameraman.
I don't do it.
Tiffany will not do it. I have tried to get her to do it. She won't do it. I gave her the camera one time. She set it down and walked off. So yes, I absolutely could use a good cameraman. But again, that's just my humble opinion, and I think the cruise lines would score big time if they ever did something like that. So if any cruise lines are listening, you're looking for somebody, just saying, I need that Disney money.
Disney.
You would just like that, wouldn't you? You'd just love that. That'd be my luck. Yeah, what I'm called, it was Disney.
Hey, you film, I eat. There we go.
So I'm going to film while you eat.
Yes.
Of you eating.
Yes.
You're good with that. Whipped cream up the side of your face.
Yep.
We're off on a depot tangent here. We're going down the rabbit hole ourselves.
Yep.
But other than that, there has not been a whole lot of cruise news this week. It's been relatively quiet. It's all been focused on storms and stuff like that. As I said, I'm sure we're going to get some more storm news with the new one already beginning to form out in the Atlantic. So
y'all won't forget his name.
Yeah, neither will I. But it does look like it's going to be currently tracking in a similar pattern and direction that Beryl was. So fingers crossed, because it did hit Jamaica pretty hard, tore up some Jamaica, tore up Barbados, did hit Cayman, Cozumel.
Mm-hmm.
Cozumel opened very quickly, though. They were back open.
I was worried about Roberto.
I'm sure he was fine. He tied himself off with his magic apron.
Texas Cruiser, you would be great with handling customer complaints.
No.
Alien says, I don't know John Heald's age. He often says he has bad knees. Maybe Chris can be his predecessor.
My knees are not all that much better.
James says Tiffany would make a good ambassador for Disney.
I don't know. Because she would have to film what she was doing and talk about what she was doing, and they'd give her 5 or 6 things to eat, let's say, to review and talk about. She'd just eat them and then probably forget to do a single filming about it.
They were good.
She has beignet dust up the side of her head and things like that.
Ray says, not saying I'm a good cameraman, but I will try. You probably do better than me, Ray, because I shake too bad. Or my finger's in the way.
I'm not that good of a cameraman either, so we're okay. Believe me, software and stabilizers, they do more of the work than I do. And if you don't believe me, you guys have seen some of my first videos. It's all over the place. So, but have I missed anything cruise news-wise? Have I told you any other stories?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. I think it's been relatively quiet. Of course, we are still waiting on Carnival to release the 2026 cruise dates. I think we're still probably a month and a half, 2 months away from getting those particular dates out by Carnival. They're going to drag that out to the last minute. So many people are asking. I would hope that they might drop them early, but probably not. Disney's also notorious for doing that. They pick a date and boy, they stick to it. And so Carnival's pretty much done the same thing at this particular point. But we'll have definitely have a What Every Cruiser Wants coming up on this Saturday. You know, we've been doing that show a long time. This upcoming show is the 119th episode that we've done of that show.
Of Whatever Cruiser?
Yeah,
I remember when we did.
190. Yeah, I remember we did episode number 1.
Well, I remember when we did the 100th. You talked about the fire on the Icon of the Seas, right?
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that one
Last
2 weeks
week.
ago, 3 weeks ago. It wasn't last week, it was before. We did talk about that. Never got any follow-up information on that, which honestly doesn't surprise me. The cruise lines put out a one-time blanket statement. Yep, this happened. No issues, no problems. We sailed. And we'll never ever hear anything from them again. Things like that, they're hoping just kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want that stuff spreading around. the news outlets too long.
Yeah.
Carnival's still getting flack, and John Heald is still getting flack over that video of the fight on the Paradise.
Are they?
Uh-huh.
Are they?
Yeah. People are still on there talking about, I saw that video, and what are you doing to stop this from happening on all the cruise ships? And
Can't. There's no way to stop it.
well, again, you're talking one action amongst all of the cruise ships too.
By the way, Chris, when your first cruise next year still looking? Are you still looking for your first cruise next year?
Our first one that next year, at least currently at the moment, is not until May. It's going to be the May cruise. We'll have to see if I can squeeze an earlier one in. That's got a couple of deciding factors on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's Disney, so it's taking a big chunk of our budget.
Yeah, big, God, huge chunk of our cruising budget is involved in this Disney trip. But it is Tiffany's birthday, and it's going to be Tiffany's 50th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do it up. We're going to do it big. She is going to have a really good time. So she gets a full Disney week, but that does run the possibility of limiting some other stuff that surrounds it. But I'm still going to hope to slide another one in between the one in this October and the May one.
Keep telling you, we gotta play the lotto.
I do play the lotto sometimes, but it knows I want to go cruising with it, so it says no.
Okay.
I'm not that lucky.
No.
I mean, you should play the lotto. You're lucky. You got me, didn't you? That's pure luck. I mean, I know it's like already you won the lottery, but you should try again.
Nellie says, "Happy 21st, Tiffany."
That's what she tells everybody too. But yeah, since it is Tiffany's big birthday, a milestone birthday, we are going to do a milestone blowout in Florida. And so she's going to get her full Disney experience. I will come back with even whiter hair, and it probably all fell out. But she'll be happy. She'll come home with like 18 popcorn buckets and things like that. But I'm smart. We're going to drive to Florida. That way the truck has room for souvenirs on the way back.
Yes. Because I've already decided all the shops I want to stop at. And yep.
See? Hence why I may not be able to take a cruise in January or February. But believe me, there are several out there I definitely want to get on still. Several leaving out of Galveston I want to get on. I am desperate to get on. Time is just, it's like slipping away the last year.
Yeah.
So
that it is.
But all right, I think we are going to wrap up a little bit early today. Said we've covered the cruise news. Wasn't a whole lot going on. But there will be a video on Friday for cruise news. And of course, the Saturday video will be out as well.
James says, yes, it will be next year before I can cruise.
Yeah. Now, we are definitely still on the MSC in November out of Galveston. So that one's locked in already. Disney will be before that. So hopefully we get a couple other people that want to jump on the MSC cruise lines. Just so we can all kind of check it out, especially if we've never been before.
Mm-hmm. Everyone hit the like button.
Yes, thank you, James. Thank you for reminding me about that. That will get smiley faces. So smiley faces for that.
Alien says wrapping up early so you don't miss wrestling, eh?
That's right.
He wants to see men in tights.
Men in tights.
Ray says and cruise on.
Absolutely. Yes, we always will cruise on. We will always have a good time. And yeah, we're going to finish up a little bit early today because I've kind of run out of things to talk about. And wrestling's fixing to come on for those that like to go. They will be actually in front of it all time tonight.
Yes. So hope everybody that lives around Houston and the Galveston, y'all stay safe. And hopefully
everybody gets their power back soon. Nobody's houses were messed up, destroyed. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got injured. And hopefully whatever. We're going to keep an eye on this new tropical storm that's forming. Kind of see
I forgot the name already.
See what I had to put up with? B. Let's see. Nelly says, "Have a great weekend. Great live. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Remember, it's you guys being here, jumping in, talking, and continuing on the conversation. It's what actually makes these lives so much fun."
Yes. Ray says, and cruise on. Texas Cruiser says, thank you. Tiffany Francis says, thank you.
Y'all are welcome. So let's say we are going to hop off of here and we click all of the magic buttons here. But everybody have a great night. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Stay dry, stay safe. And like always,
We'll see you out on the high seas.
good night, everybody.
Good night.